This is Prashant Mawani and I welcome all of you to StudyIQ. The date today is 10th October and we are going to analyze the editorials and news items of the Hindu newspaper. Dear friends, let me take you to Charlie Chaplin. He says that I have many problems in my life, but my lips don't know that. They always smile. Do you know, dear friends, that a smile is such an effective technology? If you just consciously carry a fake smile when you are feeling bored or when your mood is not that right, then you will find that after a couple of minutes, your mood will change. You will in fact become more pleasant. Do give it a try. This is a technology, right? It is not a motivation that I'm talking about. This is a proven technology. Once you give it a try, do let me know what are the results that you got out of this thing. You can stick your experience in the comment section. Now, dear friends, StudyIQ provides pen drive and tablet courses for different exams like SSC, bank, UPSC and other government exams. And they are designed by the best faculty of India. If you have any further queries regarding it, you can give us a call on this number or you can check out studyiq.com. Now, let me add a bit of smile on all those students who haven't got this pen drive and tablet courses yet. And the smile is that 33% flat discount is available. This is a pre-Diwali sale. 33, you can't go wrong with it. If you haven't got it yet, I would recommend all of you to do it as soon as possible. Remember, it is a pre-Diwali sale, so you have 9 days to go. So give us a call on this number. Right, dear friends, so today we have many important articles, and without wasting any further time, let's crack on. The first one is regarding towards transparency. A couple of days ago we talked about how Supreme Court, the Collegium of Supreme Court, let me give you a small brief about what collegium is all about, then we will talk about this thing. Right, so in Supreme Court you have a sort of collegium, or you can say that judiciary has a collegium. Now, it is not a college or university. Collegium consists of 5 judges, right? In this 5 judges you have one Chief Justice of India, who is the top judge of our country, and the other 4 are senior most judges of Supreme Court. So they together form a collegium. The main job of the collegium is to recruit, or you can say that it is the collegium who will decide which judge will be elevated or promoted from High Court to Supreme Court. They will decide who will be transferred, say for example, from Maharashtra High Court to Andhra Pradesh High Court, right? They will decide who will become from a normal High Court judge, who will become a Chief Justice of that particular High Court. Right, so this you can say that the selection of any particular person as a High Court judge or Supreme Court judge is done by this collegium. A couple of days ago we it was in the news, and I told you about this basic things that this is how collegium works, and we also talked about how it has declared that it is going to publish, or it is going to provide the reasons of the decisions that it is going to take when it comes to the appointment of these people, right? When it comes to appointment of these judges or High Court judges or Supreme Court judges. Anyways, so as this thing is clear now, why it is important, because if you go back to the history of this collegium system, you find that it was always all the decisions that it used to take or the decisions that it has taken so far were taken behind closed doors. That means we have no details regarding how they have or what are the reasons why they decided a particular person should become a High Court judge or Supreme Court judge. So this, now it has decided that it is going to publish its reasons, right? It is going to put in public the reasons why they have decided to do this or that. So this is a big move. This is in fact a historical step, you can say, and it is a welcome departure from the entrenched culture of secrecy surrounding judicial appointments, because it was also not good for their image as a judiciary, because many times we know that judiciary keeps on dictating, or many of the rules or many of the verdicts or judgment of judiciary are in favor of transparency, but when it comes to appointment they were not transparent. So this was a sort of paradox that was going on with judiciary. Anyways, it has to also ensure that a certain degree, it has to keep a balance between what are the things that are going to come in the public domain and what are the things that should not come into the public domain. Because let me give you a small example. Say, for example, you have a High Court judge. Now, if the judiciary decides that this particular person, whose name is, say, for example, A should not be made a Chief Justice of a particular High Court, then if it comes out with, or if it publishes the reasons, then it will impact the credibility, or it will impact the reputation of this particular judge, who is of course going to serve as a judge, as a normal High Court judge, isn't it? So this is a thing. This is a small example. So there could be many things, right? Judiciary is expert in all this sort of things, so they should keep a right balance between full disclosure and opaqueness. Apart from that, one more thing that used to haunt judiciary is that there is a perception that it is the family members, or you can say in general it is a sort of nepotism that is going on in judiciary. So most of the judges are coming from family background is judiciary, or they are coming from famous advocates. So there was a nexus sort of thing that was going on, but hopefully with this thing, this reasoning out, when they are providing reason for the appointment, this will hopefully get eliminated. And another serious issue that is going on with judiciary is that when we talk about High Court, 387 vacancies are there. This means the cases are going to get delayed, justice is going to be delayed, and it will eventually impact democracy. The people who are engaged in criminal activities, they find it very easy to commit crime because they know that the cases are going to last for years and years and ages, 20 years, 25 years, because they know that this is the weakness of judiciary. So they should sort it out as soon as possible. And the clashes going on between government and judiciary as well is detrimental for democracy, because they are making it a sort of ego issue between them. There was a issue regarding memorandum of procedure. First, there was introduction of National Judicial Appointment Commission. Constitutional amendments were made, but the Supreme Court said that this is not right. This is basically taking away the independence of judiciary. So this was cancelled by the Supreme Court. Then there was issue regarding memorandum of procedure. What it is? Let me give you a small example. Procedures, right? There are some procedures that we have to follow. In the same way, you have this memorandum of procedure, and there was a clause, or there was a rule in this MOP that based on national security, the government can cancel appointment, or if a name is being provided to the collegium, by the collegium to the government, then the government, based on the national security thingy, it can reject the name that is given by the Supreme Court or the collegium. So this were some of the issues. Now they are being sorted out. So of course both of them should drop their egoistic thing or ego thing, and they should work together as a team, because they know it very well. We all know that the judiciary and government, or you can say legislature, executive and judiciary, all three are important pillars of our democracy, and if they are struggling or fighting with each other, then that is not going to be good for anyone for the whole nation. Moving on to another item, and this is one of the most important article that I can find in today's newspaper. This is pertaining to your civil services, right? Because we all are preparing for civil services. So, and you find this sort of question every year. It is in fact clearly given in your syllabus as well. So, and of course you find this sort of questions in your mains examination, and most of the time the nature of these questions are, you have to argue, or you have to provide your analysis how things are not well and what are the steps that can be taken, or basically you have to identify the problems and provide solutions. So this sort of questions are asked, and I think that this is satisfied here, or you find relevant items in this particular article. So we know that in 1947 we got independence from the British government, and we adopted the civil service system that was designed by the British people to rule over our country, isn't it? We just directly adopted this thing. Prime Minister Nehru was aware about the nature or the structure of the civil services. He was knowing very well that for a politically free, socially feudal and economically poor country, this sort of setup is not going to be of any help, because what is happening, or what used to happen, or what is still prevalent today with IAS, right, or civil services, is that there is a sort of deep hierarchy, or you can say there is a big ladder. Well, if you don't know what hierarchy is all about, then let me tell you, there are many steps, right? And the steps, like, say for example, you become an IAS officer, then you will start from this level, then after a couple of years there are fixed terms, you will come here, then you will go there, etc., etc. This is the way how your promotion is managed. So this is one of the worst, you can say, human resource policy, because if you are expert in any particular subject, then it is not necessary that you will work in that area. Say for example, if you are a doctor and if you crack Civil Services Examination, then it is not necessary that you will work in medical ministry of health, right? They can put you in defense ministry as well. You know it very well that as preparing for civil services, we become generalist, right? I'm not talking journalist, I'm talking about generalist, Generalist. So generalists are basically, we know bits and pieces about 100 things, right? We know 2%, 3%, or the basic things about 100 or 200 things, 100 or 200 different items. But when it comes to expertise, we are not expert, right? Generalists are not expert in any particular thing. They are the only good side of generalist is that they know basic things about many things, right? And when it comes to specialist, they don't know basic about many things, but they know everything about one particular thing. So they are expert. So you can imagine that if you are a doctor and if you become IAS, and if you are working, or if you are just going to work in the Ministry of Health, then you can clearly say that you will add value, isn't it? Because you know the subject, you know the things that are necessary, you have a degree of it, you have a specialized knowledge about this thing. But what happens with our IAS system, or this hierarchical system, is that it is the seniority. Now there is no proof at all around the world. If you go through human resource policies, then it is outdated thing. It was a practice earlier on, but nowadays if you are talented, if you are hardworking, right, then seniority or age doesn't matter at all when it comes to domain knowledge. So that's how people should be promoted, rather than their gray hairs, counting how many gray hairs they have. Rather than it should be based on the appraisal or promotion system, should be based on their caliber and their capacity and their domain knowledge. And since last 70 years, we have done incremental changes. When I say incremental, I mean to say that step-by-step changes, right? We haven't done a sort of radical change, like from tomorrow things would be different. No, we have done a little bit of changes in last 70 years, and this is not going to help us, or it is not helping us at all. And in fact, when we talk about the UK, from whom we got this civil services system, they radically restructured their civil services in 1950s. There was a commission called Fulton Commission, and this Fulton Commission said that the focus from it shifted the focus from a system based only on seniority and experience to one which gave pride of place to domain knowledge. Domain knowledge means expert knowledge. What happens in our country is that, imagine a person has worked for a couple of years in water resources ministry, and then he or she will be transferred in defense ministry. Now you know it very well that IAS officers, they work in a sort of a leadership role. So even if they are junior IAS or junior in this defense secretary, they would be leading a huge team, and their bosses directly will be IAS again. So you can see you have experience in working in water resource ministry, but now you are working in defense ministry. So this sort of things are termed by the writer as atrocities. And in fact, I may also say that yes, these are atrocities, because you are not creating experts in this thing. So we need to change these things. These are the flaws or loopholes, or the negative side of current civil services of our country, and we have to change it. We have to make this organizational changes, and one of the most effective thing right? A very good solution that is provided in this article by Mr. Parthasarathi is, he talks about creating clusters or sectors. What it is, let me give you a small example here. Right, say for example you become IAS officer, right? Then of course they will see which area you fit well, and say for example they find that you are good in intelligence and home, security and all those sort of things. So after your whole training would be in that area, and you may think like how they will select these things. So there are proven methods. They have the people who are training you, they have eyes and ears, they have expert eyes. They are trained to identify or distinguish between which person fits where exactly, etc. So if you have some degrees regarding it, and if you are good in, say for example, security thingy, then they will train you for either home department, defense, or other department relating to this security cluster. So you have a security cluster in which you have all these different ministries, and you will work for a couple of years in, say, home. Then after a couple of years you'll be transferred to defense, security and intelligence, and then as well you will find that you are interested more in defense ministry. Then your bosses and the transfer, the people who have power to transfer you, etc., they will also decide like, okay, yes, this person is good in defense sector, so yes, put him in defense sector for the rest of his life, right? Say for example. So what happens when you become a sort of leader in defense ministry, right? Then you have some knowledge about, you have worked in home ministry and security and intelligence and other ministry. So here you will become an expert in defense, but you will also have feathers in your hat pertaining to security cluster. So this is what cluster thingy is all about. This is what this is one of the good solution that I think should be applied in civil services. So if you find a question regarding this thing, hopefully you will find a question in your mains examination. So here you go, this is a solution, and I'm sure it will fetch good marks to you, because it is again written by Parthasarathi, who himself was a civil servant. Moving on to another item. This is about the bond, stay the course, global warming, right? And there is going to be a meeting in November, and this meeting is going to be conducted by United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC. And this is the 23rd Conference of Parties. Now this article, of course, it talks about many things, and it is going to be, our whole discussion is going to be a sort of curtain raiser. So we are going to have a bird's eye view on what's going on and where we are working and what are the things going on when it comes to climate change. And this article provides many details, or it has many factual things regarding your prelims examination. I have included them in this lecture slide. So of course, once this lecture is over, you can download this lecture slide and you can go through them in detail. Of course, I will provide you a bird's eye view on this thing, but of course we will not read one by one line here, but I will give you an overall idea what this is all about. Now see, so far what we have done so far is we have not focused on mitigation. We have always trying to say for example adapt to the changes, right? So we have to mitigate as well. When I say mitigate, I mean to say that we have to ensure that how we can reduce this greenhouse gases, rather than just adjusting our way of life to the global climate change or global warming. We have to also mitigate or reduce these gases and their impact on our planet. Now this you find many things regarding climate change here. So United Nations FCC, UNFCCC, so you know that it is a body of United Nations. Then COP23, again it works under UNFCCC. Then the meeting will primarily concentrate, the meeting that is going to take place will concentrate on various aspects associated with implementation of Paris Agreement, right, which was negotiated at COP21. So remember, COP21 is pertaining to Paris Agreement that took place in 2015. This became legally binding in November 2016, but it was decided in 2015. A meeting was held in Paris. Now, one of the most important thing regarding this Paris Agreement, you have NDCs. What is NDCs all about? NDC means that nationally determined contributions. Here you have NDCs. So say for example, India has said that we are going to reduce the emission of carbon by 30 to 33% by 2030. Right, this is a self-determined goal of India. In the same way, other countries have also decided what they are, how much they are going to contribute. But when it comes to Paris Climate Agreement, one more important thing is that we know that all the developed countries, USA, UK, and most of the Western countries who are developed country at present, they became developed by burning lots and lots of coal and petrol and other things, and because of that they are the main people, or they are the main countries who have played a significant role in damaging our environment. So what we are asking under Paris Agreement, or what Paris Agreement is all about, that the rich countries are going to provide technology as well as money, so that the poor country, or countries like India, of course we stand in the poor category sadly, but hopefully this will change. So poor countries will get money and technology from the rich country like USA and UK and France and Germany, etc., etc. And with utilizing this money, would be utilized in greener technologies. We will invest it in ensuring that the fuel that we are using, or the engines and other stuff, is more efficient. It is not that much polluting. So this is a thing that is very important when it comes to Paris Agreement. This is the core of Paris Agreement. Then some GK thing is also given here, like this time the Prime Minister of Fiji is going to head this COP23, and Fiji is a small island nearby Australia. We have talked about it, so that's the reason why I have not provided you a map, because we are going to talk about a map further ahead in this lecture. So procedures, you have some basic GK thingy, right, general knowledge thing. So these are the things that you should go through. There is no point of me repeating this thing, because there is nothing sort of understanding that or there is nothing sort of clarification or some sort of background knowledge that I have to give on this thing. It is all general knowledge, so you guys can help yourself with it. Now let me tell you important stuff that we should focus on, like warming targets. The whole world decided that the Lakshman Rekha, or the last line, could be 2 degrees, but now everyone agrees that under this Paris COP that it should be, we have to try and limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Now it may look just 0.5 degrees Celsius, but it is a big thing. It can have a substantial difference or impact on climate change, and this is what we should target, 1.5. We should ensure that the global temperature is below 1.5, and there are some scientists who say that it is impossible to reduce the global warming by 1.5. They say that we are going to hit 4 degrees Celsius. The world is going to be 4 degrees warmer than it used to be before this industrial revolution. So if God forbid, let's pray that they are wrong, these scientists, because if we are going to be 4 degrees warmer than what we are, or what we used to be, then it is going to be detrimental for everyone. There won't be any life at all, right, as if we hit 4 degrees. But there are some other hopeful or optimistic, or we have some, you can say, rays of hopes, and scientists like R.J. Miller, they say that 1.5 degree is achievable. It is not impossible, but what we have to do is we have to intensify our action. We have to mitigate this carbon emission. Every single person on this earth has to seriously think about and act on the things that are necessary, or they have to change their lifestyle in such a way and that is sort of more greener and greener. Imagine everyone looking after the nature, everyone planting trees, everyone protecting all the animals, and using more sort of greener transportation methods, using less energy, using greener energy. Then this is achievable. I think it is achievable if everyone in unison, because we human beings have managed, right? We from hunter-gatherers, we are here now talking on digital platforms. So it used to be, it might have looked impossible what we are doing at present. We are talking on mobile phone and we are traveling in space and things like that. A couple of years ago, you may say 50, 60, 100 years ago, it would look like a foolish thing or a daydreaming thing, but now it is possible, isn't it? So we can do it. We need to have this hope, and everyone should together work for this thing. That's the core of this article, or this is the summary of this article. Moving on to another item. This is about, again, animal thing, and it is about problem animals. Now what happened in Maharashtra, the Bombay High Court quashed Maharashtra Forest Department's request. Now what this Forest Department was asking for, it was going to shoot down a tiger. It was going to kill a tigress, because this tigress became a man-eater. It killed 2 people, and there was a sort of death warrant was issued by this Maharashtra Forest Department. But the Bombay High Court said that you cannot kill this tigress, because there was a PIL filed by a social activist, or you can say that animal lover people group. They filed this PIL, and they said that, and which I agree, I'm sure you will agree with this thing as well, that it is not the tiger or this tigress who have in fact been the main reason behind this sort of conflict. It is the human beings, right? We are intruding in their territory. We are chopping down trees, we are destroying the environment, and because of that they are losing their prey. And after that, when they become hungry, when they don't find their prey animals, what they have to do is they will find something easy to eat, isn't it, to feed their bellies. So human beings are responsible after this thing, and keeping this in mind, the High Court has clearly overturned the death warrant of this Maharashtra Forest Department. Now this Forest Department, many times we see that what they are doing is they are not following the right methods when it comes to conservation researchers, because what they do is when they find this sort of man-eating animals, like bigger animals or big cats like tigers, lions, or leopards and other animals that fall in this category, what they do is they pick them up and they transport them or relocate them to another place, 200, 300, 400 kilometers away from there where they used to be. Now, first of all, this thing does not change their behavior. It is said that once these big cats, once they taste the flesh and blood of human beings, then they find out that this is a sort of easy meat, right? We cannot run fast. We are, in comparison to other animals, we are not that aware, right? As a deer or a monkey would be more aware in jungle. They would be able to identify the different sounds and things like that, but we won't be able to do that. So it becomes easier for the tiger to hunt us down. So it is a easy meat. We are easy meat for them. So this behavior does not change if you relocate them somewhere else. The other thing is that we know that they are very smart. And when I say smart, I mean to say that they have a very good smell senses, and they can find their way back. The other thing is that when you relocate them to unknown territory, they become more aggressive because they are in a sort of hostility mode. So they may attack more people. And it also talks about trophy hunting. Now, what trophy hunting is that you provide license to the people, and you say that this animal is weak. This particular lion is 15 years old. He will die after a couple of years or a couple of months. So if you give us some money, we'll give you the license. You can take your gun and you can shoot down that animal. Now, this has been working well in Namibia, but I would put my argument in this way that when we know that when animals or big cats, when they taste the blood and flesh of human beings, that we call that they are going to repeat that thing. What about human beings? When they find entertainment and pleasure and sort of a manly feeling, or you can say that they feel very big when they hunt down animals. If this sort of feelings are been provided by giving them a license and just for the sake of money, and we are saying that this money will be utilized for conservation of this animal, then this is something we have not understood the animal kingdom yet, right? They are part and parcel. Let them die a natural death. We have no right to interfere between what is going on in nature. So this sort of things, I personally think is not viable. The good thing that has worked so far, and it works very well, Gujarat is a very good example. Gir Sanctuary, where we have Asiatic lions, it is a very good example that if you take on board the local people, rural communities, if you make them part of your decision making process, if you compensate them if they are making any sort of losses, then this will help in protecting this sort of animals. This one is about Bay of Bengal diplomacy. Bay of Bengal initiative for multi-sectoral technical and economic cooperation. This group is known as BIM Stack. What is BIM Stack? I will show you a picture. Let me show you the picture first. Here is the BIM Stack, right? This countries together form a group called BIM Stack. Here is the logo of BIM Stack, and you have 7 countries. Now the 7 countries includes, of course, India. Then you have Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Thailand, and Sri Lanka. These are the 7 countries, and together they form a group called BIM Stack. BIM Stack stands for Bay of Bengal Initiative. So you know that this is Bay of Bengal. And the good thing, or one of the unique thing about this BIM Stack, is that it works as a bridge between SAARC, that is South Asian Association of Regional Cooperation, and then you have ASEAN, that stands for Association of Southeast Asian Nation, right? ASEAN. So it works as a bridge because you have 2 countries here, that is Myanmar and Thailand, that are part of this ASEAN, and the other countries, of course, we are missing Maldives, Pakistan, and Afghanistan here when we talk about SAARC, but we are also missing many other 8 countries of this ASEAN anyways. So together it works like a bridge for bridge between ASEAN and SAARC, right? So disaster management exercise is going to help, or this is going to be the first time when this group is going to talk about disaster management. And when I say disaster management, then we know that this area, right, we had a huge tsunami in 2004 in this part, and India, Sri Lanka, and these countries were affected by it. Many people lost their life and things like that. So it is a big sort of risk here, because you know that this Indonesia is not far from here, and you know that Pacific Ring of Fire is also here, and you have some other plates. There is a boundary line of plates here, so that is one of the main reasons why you find some sort of earthquakes taking place, and because of that we have tsunamis, and tsunamis are destructive. Then we have earthquake zones. The Himalayan belt is prone to earthquakes, so Nepal is a good example. We frequently see earthquake taking place in Kashmir and Uttarakhand and other parts of our Himalayan range. Then we have apart from that, there are other spots as well in India regarding earthquake, and this applies to other countries as well. And cyclones, right? I'm talking about, I'm giving you a big picture here. So you have cyclones as well. Every year we see Hudhud and other ones. They do come here and there in the cyclonic season. So disaster management is a very important item that together we can work, right? Together this BIM Stack group can work with each other, and they can, all the countries of this group can share knowledge with each other. And of course India is a big brother in this part, so India has to play a major role. We have also set up some tsunami warning center in Indian Ocean, and which is helping other countries as well, but we have to promote more research and development sort of thing when it comes to disaster management. And remember that BIM Stack represents 22% of global population, right? So you can understand that we are talking about 1/5 nearly, or something more than 1/5 of human beings living in this part of the world. Moving on to another item, this is about knitting a safety net. Knitting a safety net. This is about mental health, and we know that recently India passed a mental health bill. It is more progressive, this mental health bill, because it is more humane. It is talking from or it is taking a stand from patient's perspective, right? That electric shock and all these things are gone now. It is not allowed. But when we talk about mental health, then the figures are very disturbing, because out of 8 lakh people who commit suicide every year, 1,33,000 takes place in India. We generally take pride in our culture. We say that we are more loving people. We share a sort of emotional bond with our family and other people, but reality is something different. I'm not saying that we are not that, not at all. Generally speaking, when we compare with other cultures, then we find that we used to be, but now things are changing, and it is visible in these numbers. Because what I see, I have a little bit of knowledge regarding this thing, this mental health and stuff like that, and I know that whenever any person is committing suicide, is because no one is able to identify what is going on within them. And I'm sure that when you love someone, when you care for someone, then it is easy to read what's going on within them from their eyes itself, from their behavior. The people who are having a sort of suicidal tendencies, their behavior changes, and there are some ways to find out about it. And most of the reasons are emotional reasons, isn't it? And emotional reasons could be from many, that the main trigger could be other things like it could be a family problem, or it could be a debt, unemployment, or failure in exam, or breakup of relationship and things like that. But it is all, the core is emotional management, and this is a thing that we are lacking. I think that everyone in the school, from the school level itself, they should be trained, formally trained in emotional management. Emotional management is the key, right? You also have a subject called emotional intelligence, a syllabus in your syllabus, general studies paper number 4, right? General studies 4 paper number 5, you have this ethics, integrity and aptitude, and in which you have subjects like attitude and ethics and human interface, and right, so all these things. So emotional intelligence is the key. There are many research as well that are coming out, and they say that it is not the intelligence, right, it is the emotional intelligence that matters, and that's what should be trained from a very early ages to everyone, right, throughout the world. This should be, so the world would become more peaceful if we do this thing. And the safety nets, because most of the people, we see that 70% of the people who commit suicide are earning less than 1 lakh rupees per year. So you can clearly see that there is a sort of hypothesis when it comes to money and suicide. And the other thing, there are other areas like social pressure and things like that. But this Bohr committee, there was a Bohr committee, and it has said that when it comes to every Indian, right, every Indian should be able to access the healthcare without the humiliation of proving their financial status or the bitterness of accepting charity. So these are the things, these are the safety nets that we should provide to our people, and particularly the people who are suffering from all these issues, right, relationship issue or unemployment issue. This one is about India. This one is about Kathmandu, Nepal. And basically we know that left parties of Nepal have unified, and they are going to fight the election. So the bottom line basically is about, there are 3 parties here. One is India, then you have Nepal, and then you have Beijing. They are playing a sort of tug of war, India and China, right? Beijing means China. So India and China are playing tug of war, and this Nepal is a sort of rope for them. So both the countries are trying to tilt Nepal towards its side, but Nepal again is playing smart. So let's wait and watch what are the things that will happen in Nepal. And then we reach to this news items. You have Prime Minister, he had a meeting with experts and CEOs of oil and gas companies around the world, and he said that the status of energy security or energy sector in India is highly uneven and stressed, and this should change, particularly when it comes to eastern India. He also said that we can decrease the import of gas and oil by 10% by 2022, and this we can also emerge as a strong oil and gas based economy, because even though our natural resources are less, we are refining huge amount of crude oil, and we are exporting it to different countries. So we are importing crude oils, we are making it, importing crude oil is a raw material, then we process it into a finished product, and then we export it. So we can enhance these things. Gujarat Riot that took place a couple of years ago, many years ago, I think it's been nearly 2 decades now, and Godhra convicts, right, nearly 2 decades, 2002 I guess it was, in, yes, 2002. So Godhra convicts, 11 of them, they were supposed to be hanged, but now their death sentence has been commuted to life imprisonment. And it took this much time because we can understand that there were 255 witnesses, there were 133 accused, and this is the reason why it took this much years of time. Anyways, there is going to be a sale of there is going to be a ban on sale of firecrackers in Delhi because of pollution. Pollution is the main thing, and I would like to add here, I'm sure we are going to find more things on this item because it is going to be a hot topic. But let me tell you that Diwali is a festival of light and not a festival of noise. And economist economist Richard Thaler. He got Nobel Prize for, and he teaches in this University of Economics, and it is about behavioral economics, how we take decisions, how we take financial and economic decision, and the work done by this man here managed to get him a sort of Nobel Prize. So this is an important item, and I think now we don't have any sort of other Nobel Prizes left. There you have two questions. They both are descriptive. Today I have not included any sort of MCQ sort of question here. Remember to make most out of this 33% sale. And with this, dear friends, don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and pass your valuable comment. Do share this lecture with your friends. Do share it on your social networking site. It helps other people as well to get knowledge, right? This is a noble cause you can do. It will give you a sort of satisfaction as well. Imagine someday someone will come and thank you for saying that day you shared that lecture with me. It made my life, and I was able to crack this or that exams, and now I'm set, etc., etc. So that will give you a sort of satisfaction, and that's what we should do as a human being. We should always try to find and help each other. When we help someone else, it is not that we are doing something good for them, it is something that we are doing good for ourselves. It gives immense satisfaction. With this, dear friends, I end this discussion. Keep your city green and clean. Stay curious. Jai Hind.